Sometimes you hit play and don't realize you're watching someone's final moments. No scripts, no retakes, no second chances. The camera captures a trembling voice, unspoken thoughts, and that strange feeling that something more is happening behind the scenes. Some knew it was the end and hit record on purpose. Others just wanted to share a moment and left before they could say goodbye. Today, you'll see videos where life and the screen became one. Jacob Cockle's friends called him a Whirlpool Hunter. He didn't just film, he climbed right into the jaws of the elements to capture what others wouldn't even dare to imagine. Yes, he was a British photographer, a mad romantic, and a born thrill-seeker who couldn't live without adrenaline and cameras. His lens caught raging waves that could knock you off your feet and whirlpools that hungrily swallowed water, sky, and air. He was obsessed with them. Once, Jacob even climbed into a whirlpool wearing a horse mask because, quote, "Art must be insane." The video gained millions of views, and Jacob himself became an internet legend. But one day, his hunt went off script. He dove into a whirlpool, hoping to capture a shot more powerful than any before. Everything was as usual, action camera, swirling water, him at the heart of it all. But the current turned out to be much stronger than during previous runs. The camera only managed to catch him disappearing beneath the water. Daryl Leaf didn't wear a superhero mask, didn't jump into whirlpools, and didn't ride on train rooftops. He sat in front of a camera and spoke to you heart to heart. He had a YouTube channel where he talked about his life, his battle with illness, and how to stay sane when stage 4 colon cancer had already sealed the diagnosis. And then, the final video. Daryl broke all the molds. He turned on the camera while lying in a hospital bed, covered in wires and tubes, and began to talk. Yes, he knew he only had a few days left, but instead of tears and complaints, he started his final vlog. "Hey guys, I think this is the end for me. Impossible to look away?" Because he spoke of acceptance, of how important it is to live consciously, of love for those close to you, and all that without a single ounce of self-pity. This is what human greatness looks like, captured in a single shot. James Stobie, known online as Stobe the Hobo, was not just a blogger. He was a poet of the rails, an anarchist of freedom, the last romantic of American roads. His videos felt like revelations from the deck of a vanishing train. He would hop freight trains, sleep under the open sky, live between stations, and manage to turn it all into cinematic magic. In a world where everyone hides behind filters, Stobe shared the raw, noisy, authentic journey. On November 8, 2017, his route ended in Baltimore. The details remain unknown to this day. Maybe he fell from an overpass. Maybe his backpack got caught on a train. Just fragments, rumors, scraps of forum posts. But a legend remains in memory, a man who turned his life into a journey the length of America. Have you ever thought a prank could turn in an instant, transforming cheerful content into real drama? Tanner Cook, star of the channel Classified Goons, a guy who built his career on provocations and social experiments like what happens if you approach a stranger and start mumbling weird things in their face. Millions of views, dozens of viral videos, a sea of hate, and just as many fans. But one day, things went too far. During one of his next pranks at a mall in Virginia, Tanner snuck up on a man and began whispering nonsense into his ear, and a second later, a gunshot rang out. Yes, in front of passers-by. The man with the gun wasn't a fan of YouTube pranks. Tanner woke up in the hospital, miraculously survived, and kept filming. This trio embodied freedom. High on Life wasn't just a YouTube channel, it was a philosophy. Drop everything, grab your backpack, go to the edge of the world, and smile at the camera, even if there's a cliff beneath you. People watch them to feel. Life is right now. On July 3rd, 2018, they went to Shannon Falls, a wild place whose beauty is literally mind-blowing. Megan Scraper approached the edge and suddenly fell into the stream. Not a second of hesitation, Riker Gamble and Alexei Laik jumped in after her. 3 friends, 1 movement, 1 goal, to save. But the waterfall does not forgive impulses. 100 feet down, rocks, raging water, and silence. The search lasted 2 days. On social media, shock. In the team, devastation. They were gone, but hundreds of videos remain where they fly, run, dive, live, To the limit, to the last, not for views, for the taste of life. Greg Plitt wasn't just a fitness trainer, he was an explosion of a man, pure energy, walking motivation that could blow the roof off. He spoke as if he were dragging you off the couch. You want results, you work until you sweat yourself blind. His YouTube channel was a mix of insane discipline, thunderous speeches, and workouts that pushed human limits. He ran across rooftops, did pull-ups on skyscraper ledges, lifted weights like he was saving the world, and then suddenly, absurdly, it all ended in a moment. In January 2015, Greg died on a railroad during the filming of one of his new projects. According to the official report, he was trying to shoot an epic shot, running toward a train, and didn't make it off the tracks in time. Yes, absurd, tragic, but in his style. Tor Ekhoff, aka Apator, was the living embodiment of madness, fun, and northern cold that takes your breath away. This Norwegian YouTube Viking secured himself with a forever ticket to legend, with jumps into icy lakes, rides across frozen cliffs, vodka for breakfast, and screams of "I am Apator." His videos felt like National Geographic crossed with a psychedelic show, ice, snow, alcohol, and a strange, almost philosophical joy of life. He was a grown man but played like a teenager, showing that age is just a number and the thrill, that's what's real. But in December 2021, on the eve of his birthday, Tor went filming again and fell through the ice while skating on a frozen lake. He died, ironically, in the very element he adored and played with so often. When Albert Dyerland went up a mountain with his camera, he wasn't chasing hype. He went where the heart stops from height, not view counts. At 22, the Danish blogger, singer, actor was the guy who could turn an ordinary day into a movie. He didn't pretend to be a hero, he was just real, a little goofy, a little bold, but always with a spark. On July 28, 2021, he was filming content in the Alps at the top of Sasida. A stunning view, a panorama worth a million likes, but one wrong step and the whole world ends. He fell 650 feet. That's it. No second take, no soundtrack. What a paradox. He wanted to show the beauty of the world and became part of a tragic landscape. His mother later said, "He left us doing what he loved." Pedro Ruiz dreamed of becoming famous, not just popular, but entering YouTube history with a video that would take viewers' breath away. With Mona Lisa Perez, his girlfriend, he filmed pranks, challenges, family vlogs, anything that could get views. But one day, an idea got out of control. A gun, a bullet, a thick encyclopedia on his chest, and the promise that the book would stop the shot. "This is going to be our craziest video," he said before filming. Camera rolling, their small daughter nearby, one shot, and the world froze. The book didn't stop the bullet. It went straight through. Pedro fell, and that was the end of the frame. No retakes, no repeats, no margin for error. He was only 22. Mona Lisa was pregnant with their second child, and the internet became a witness to a tragedy that started as an experiment for likes. Christina Grimmie shone. Young, talented, adored by millions. She went from cozy YouTube covers to the Voice finals, where her voice tore the room apart with emotion. After a concert in Orlando, she stayed by the stage as always to hug everyone, sign autographs, and smile. And then, a guy approached. Just a fan, seemingly. She reached out to him with open arms, and in that moment, everything collapsed. He pulled out a gun. Shot. Panic. Her brother immediately tackled the attacker, but it was too late. Evil had pulled the trigger, then turned it on himself. The shooter turned out to be 27-year-old Kevin James Loebel, a man obsessed, mentally unstable, unhealthily in love. He had driven hundreds of miles, armed himself, and came to the concert to change someone's life forever. Christina's heart stopped at the hospital. She never regained consciousness. Ronald Ronnie McNutt was a man with a pain he tried to hide behind jokes on his YouTube channel, conversations, and live streams. Online, he was known as In Hindi Spurds, a former soldier, car dealership employee, a fan of heavy rock, pop culture, and streaming. But off camera, he was fighting what the lens couldn't see: post-traumatic stress and inner silence louder than any words. On August 31st, 2020, he went live on Facebook. He joked, smoked, drank, and suddenly started talking about life, loneliness, and pain no one hears. Viewers didn't understand at first. It seemed like just another ironic stream, but at one point he pulled out a weapon. The final seconds were live. The video spread across the internet instantly, and a nightmare began. The algorithms failed, and TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, fragments kept appearing in feeds of thousands of users unprepared to see something like that. Jonathan Grant Thompson, the very king of random scientific discoveries from the channel The King of Random. His videos felt like a distilled version of every adult's childhood dream: launching homemade rockets, cooking up slime, turning a vacuum cleaner into a flamethrower. He made science accessible, fun, and wildly spectacular. Most importantly, he taught people to create, to experiment, and not to fear failure. Ironically, his final experiment happened outside the lab. In summer of 2019, he went paragliding just for fun, maybe to film something new, but contact was suddenly lost. A bit later, he was found in the Utah mountains, his paraglider tangled in trees, a tragic accident. Emily Hartridge was like a morning show in one girl: cheerful, bold, uncomfortably honest. Her YouTube channel, 10 Reasons Why, exploded with sincerity and self-irony. She talked about love, therapy, anxiety, relationships, and did it in a way that made you either fall in love or binge her playlist until 3 a.m. She was the first British presenter to build a career right from her bedroom with a camera, not through TV castings or glossy magazine covers. On July 12, 2019, Emily was riding her electric scooter through the streets of London. Morning, summer, sunshine, and at full speed, a truck struck her. It was the first fatal electric scooter accident in Britain. The world felt slapped in the face. A joyful vlogger, a friend to thousands of viewers, and silence. Storm Debule knew that silence is the most honest dialogue with nature. His videos didn't shout or fuss. Fire crackling, snow underfoot, ice breaking, all real. He went on solo expeditions not for risk, but to answer a simple question: who are you when you're alone with the earth? In October 2024, he set out for Lapland, where civilization gives way to wind and white stillness. He managed to record several fragments: the cold, a growing blizzard, short notes by the fire. Then, an emergency call. Brief, broken, and silence. A storm engulfed the region, and help couldn't reach him in time. The next day, he was found, near the tent, one step from the trail. He almost made it, almost got out. But it's that almost that makes the ending so piercing. Nishu Deswal, known on social media as the Token King, decided that day in February 2024 to do his signature tractor stunt, lifting the front wheels and showing off a wheelie against the banks of the Yamuna. Camera rolling, friends nearby, music playing, the vibe casual and familiar. But suddenly, balance shifted. The ground under the tires gave way, and the heavy machine slowly, almost thoughtfully, began tipping backward. In the next fraction of a second, the world changed from a frontal shot to steel hitting earth. The guy disappeared under the metal, and everything froze. His friends screamed in shock, trying to lift the machine, but it became clear Nishu wasn't coming back. He was 22, leaving behind a wife, a young son, and 1.5 million viewers who followed his stunts. Graham Dingo Dinkelman felt every hiss, every motion of reptiles. He was a guardian of snakes, a man whose channel opened the gates to a world where you could touch venomous reptiles with bare hands. In late September 2024, Dingo was working in his sanctuary beside an incredibly beautiful green mamba, and in one frame, a bite. It started off innocently: slight concern, then shock, anaphylactic reaction. After the injection, he struggled to breathe, rushed off in critical condition. Later, he was already in a coma. His wife Christy and 3 children never left his side, surrounding him with love and gratitude for everything. A month later, a life full of reptiles, adventures, and family joy came to an end. In October, his heart stopped, surrounded by loved ones. Dmitry Erowin, better known as Amoral, was the kind of person people either listened to or turned off. Sharp, uncomfortable with a voice. His content wasn't just bold, it hit hard and shattered norms. But on December 1st, 2024, he went live not for a conflict. He posted a video message. No sarcasm, no mask. His voice trembled, and in his eyes, a final calm. He apologized, made a farewell post public. The timers began. Later, a video on his channel, cold, already post-factum. And when he was found at the foot of a 25-foot-story building, the car hood crushed, the comments under the video were still fresh. Tell me this is trolling. No, this was the final, perfectly edited scene. No retakes. Paul Harrell, a legend in his field, Army and Marine veteran with a clear voice and fearless mind. In December 2023, he recorded his most personal video, sitting on a fallen tree with a cane, the result of bone metastases and a fractured hip. He said, "If you're watching this, I'm already gone." Harrell explained that cancer had spread to his bones faster than expected, and the hope of more years collapsed into a few months. He apologized for not being able to continue, and thanked everyone for every comment and view. "I hope I helped you, saved you time and money. The video wasn't about pity, it was about honesty. I have very few regrets," he said. "Thank you for being with me." Afterward, his brother and team promised to continue the channel's mission, just as he wished. Ricard Sayajin, not just a talented Indonesian tattoo artist and content creator, he became a living reflection of pain rarely shown on screen. After contracting a urinary tract infection in 2015, Ricard, without medical insurance or prescription, began taking strong antibiotics, first from an employer, then passed to him by a nurse sister. A few days later, things began to improve, but soon came seizures, terrifying insomnia, and chronic pain. On his blog, he didn't hide the horror of his illness: body tremors, muscle control loss, ear ringing, leg pain, and how unbearable sleepless days could be. On December 9th, 2016, Ricard simply fell asleep forever. His last video was filmed by a camera focused on his face. He spoke calmly, almost in a whisper, about exhaustion, the struggle, and the impossibility of continuing in that state. I understand how terrifying it must be to suddenly realize in the moment that your life is ending. And looking at this man in the photo, you might even guess that fear literally clouded his eyes. It's painful even to imagine what he had to go through and what those final seconds were like. Arslan Valiyev, a blogger from St. Petersburg, former zookeeper, reptile expert known for his animal-focused channel, chose to end things not with a post, but a live stream. In September 2017, he went live and showed the bite mark, a black mamba, one of the deadliest snakes in the world. He spoke calmly, almost tenderly, addressing his ex-wife, whom he had recently separated from, asking for forgiveness, recalling their best moments, and saying it was all his own decision. The camera stayed on. Viewers tried to call for help, but the venom had already reached his heart. Arslan collapsed. The camera kept recording, and the comments filled with horror. He left as he lived, without safety nets, without a script, live. His final stream became a shocking manifesto of pain and loneliness that people still discuss and rewatch. Tetsu Shiohara, a Japanese streamer, spent the fall of 2019 trying to reach the summit of Mount Fuji despite it being a prohibited time of year, wearing street shoes with no proper gear, only a cane and a smartphone. During the live stream, he joked coldly about his freezing fingers. "It's really slippery, dangerous. Wait, hold on." And then it happened. A moment of distraction and the horizon's view turned into a vertical fall. The camera didn't blink. The fall continued, but the final frame froze, showing only snow, a gray-blue panorama, and silence. Alarmed viewers' calls brought out rescue teams, but the body was found only 2 days later, at an elevation of 3,000 meters. He left not as a hyped heroic climber, not as a safari hero, but as a man absorbed in the moment whose fatal mistake was witnessed by the entire world. The opening of CrossFit Games 2024 was supposed to be a celebration of endurance, but became a page of pain. Lazar Dukic, a fan favorite Serbian athlete in the sport for 8 years, as strong as a rock and kind as a mentor, started the triathlon keeping pace despite the scorching sun and 98 degrees Fahrenheit at the start. 6-kilometer run, 800-meter swim. He dove in with confidence, but in the water, his body seemed to shut down. He removed his swim cap, staggered, and sank. The crowd screamed. The lifeguards stayed silent. One of the spectators jumped into the water before any volunteers even reacted. An emergency signal was given only 30 minutes after the start. His body was found at 9:20. Too late. For 79 athletes, there were 5 lifeguards. 5. And not one close by.